my friends. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. And Suntup is in the house, although not in the mail. Usually when I get Suntup Editions books, it's an exciting mail day. But this is not an exciting mail day because there was nothing in the mailbox but them things they send called bills. However, I did get an email from a kind lady named Kim at a wonderful place called Camelot Books. Ever heard of it? Well, if you haven't, by all means, hear of it. It's an excellent limited edition at the bookstore in Land O'Lakes, Florida. That ain't really your typical bookstore. It isn't for the proper ones. It isn't the typical bookstore because it's not like I can just drive on up, walk on in, wander the aisles, buy the stuff, and hit the road jack. No, they are primarily internet sales. They sell books on their website, Camelot Books. I'll put a link in the description. They sell books on their website, and one of the neat features is that when you pre-order a book from a publisher, you typically will pay for the book, and then you'll wait. And in some cases, you might wait 11 years for something like The Stand after paying. 11 years. However, if you buy with Camelot, you simply place the order if they've got items available still, and then once it's delivered, in some cases 11 years later, when the book is ready, you pay, and then they will ship it to you. And occasionally, for those nearby, with the prior asking of permission, they may grant you access to those hallowed halls. The coolest little bookstore I've ever seen. From the road, this place looks tiny, and you walk in, and before you make the first corner, you will already see stuff that will say, oh, I need that, and I need that, and I need that, and I need that. And man, I've been there a couple times where I walk out with a whole lot more stuff than I went in there to get. Great people. Love those folks at Camelot Books. But I got a book called Hell House by Richard Matheson, the numbered edition. I pre-ordered this from Camelot Books, and then I went there, paid for it, picked it up, and here it is in the bag. I haven't taken, I actually did, no lies. They had it sitting on the shelf counter there, and I opened it up to take a look, and then we talked for a little while, and meanwhile they stuck it back in the bag and handed it to me, and I walked out the door. And here it is. Typically, when they ship you stuff, they will, at least in my experience, they'll wrap it up nice and pretty in some cool wrapping paper, put it in a big fat box, really cushiony, and it's a wonderful thing. It's an experience. But since I was picking it up in the store, it didn't seem worth it making them wrap a package up for me so I could go home and unwrap it. So I didn't do it, but that is a neat little thing when you buy from Camelot Books. But here it is, and it is mind-boggling, and this is my second time. Like I said, I briefly scanned it at the store there, and then I put it in the bag and I brought it home and set it on the shelf until this moment where I get a chance to talk to you. In Hell House by Richard Matheson. It comes in a cloth-covered tray case. See how that opens so nice. But on this tray case, you see it's two-tone, but you have this leather label on the spine. It is so cool. It is hot foil stamped. Looks great. That's what it'll look like on the shelf in my Richard Matheson section, which I've already got. This will be my third Richard Matheson Suntup Editions numbered edition book. And I've pre-ordered the Born of Man and Woman collection. So I've got the Born of Man and Woman short story, I Am Legend. I've got the collection coming. Here is Hell House. I'd love to see Suntup Editions do at least a couple more from Richard Matheson. I'd love to have Stir of Echoes and The Shrinking Man. They're on my wish list. They're great books from a great author. And then maybe there's other stuff they could come up with. But this is Hell House Day, and you have this enclosure. It is lined with felt, suede felt. It's lined and it's soft. I probably should have looked it up to see what it was lined with, but I failed. I did fail. And I'm going to take the book out without dropping anything. Here's my slipcase enclosure. Take the book out and let's take a look at how beautiful it is. We have a quarter bound leather ostrich skin ostrich leather spine. And you can see how good that looks. And then cloth covered boards. And they say doubletta cloth overboards. Then you have your leather label there. Hot foil stamp embossed. And the spine is plain. And I've always been a little bit iffy on plain spines. Because if I'm going to have a book on the shelf, I want to see on the spine what it is and who it's from. And if you put a book by itself, nothing. If you put a book in a slipcase, nothing. But what Suntup seems like what they're doing now is that when they have their numbered editions, at least the last few that I've gotten, where the spine is some very nice spine material with nothing on it, they're in a tray case. And so then when it's on the shelf, guess what? The tray case tells you what it is. So I love that combination right there. And man, it is so nice. This leather press printed Mohawk superfine paper, letter press printed on a Heidelberg cylinder. And as always, you have the book specific, all the way from the Great Pacific bookmark. And that one includes the illustration from William Basso. This one has an introduction by Richard Christian Matheson, R.C. Matheson, as it says now anymore. Foreword by Mike Flanagan, and afterword by Nancy A. Collins. Suntup edition, Suntup Press, 2024. But there it is, the book specific bookmark. And we'll take a look at this book as we go. But Hell House is not my favorite Matheson book, although it is, well, one of his most popular books, and it is fabulous. I still kind of put I Am Legend as my favorite Matheson book, and not kind of, it's my favorite Matheson book that I've read. But then when it comes to what's next, I'm kind of torn between Shrinking Man and Stir Up Echoes on which one I like the best beyond that. And then Hell House would be probably number 4 of the ones that I've read myself. But Hell House is great, and it's definitely up there for my taste as one of the best haunted house stories. One that is truly, it feels like a horror book. It's got a lot of the elements. I don't want to spoil anything. It's an old book, but it's an actual haunted house story. And it includes things like science, but also like suspense, mystery, whodunit, what is going on. It's got some graphic stuff included death, sexual stuff. So it hits on all of those things that have often been built into true horror. This one does it. So it's horror on multiple levels. And in a nutshell, this book is about a place called the Belasco House, a legendary haunted house, the Mount Everest of haunted houses. And we have a renowned physicist, Lionel Barrett. And he's a little bit tricky. He hires a couple of mediums, a couple of different types of mediums. He hires these folks and brings them in along with his wife, Edith, who probably shouldn't be there. But he hires these two mediums, a man and a woman, brings them in, a couple different types, completely different types. So they're kind of, in a way, feuding because they have different beliefs. But he hires them and brings them in under the pretense that he wants to cure this place, to fix it, the Belasco House. But he's got some stuff going on. And he also brings a machine in. And so in many ways, he's observing these mediums and seeing what happens and seeing what they do. And he's got his own theories about what they do. But he also has his machine, and he wants to show these people what his machine does. And I won't get any farther into that, but it is true horror. No punches pulled. But let's take a little bit of look. Here's our end papers. I don't know how well you can see that, but the end papers are quality and nice. And I already told you, letter press printed. There are a lot of people out there that simply collect letterpress printed books, and few do it any better than Suntup Editions. And this one is a Heidelberg cylinder press, and man, it looks so good. We got the 2-color printing there. It looks so nice. Quality paper, Mohawk Superfine. I don't specifically know what that means, but I do know it's nice. Suntup uses it often for their numbered editions. But just, let's see a blank page. See if there's a way that you can get a feel for that, how closely you can see it, dimples and all. But it is thick paper. This paper is nice. It's thick. It feels, it almost feels like cardstock. I mean, it's not cardstock, but it is thick. You can tell this is not just something you get off the shelf at the Barnes & Noble. Nothing, not trying to insult the Barnes & Noble, but this isn't some trade edition that you will buy there, and you can see what it looks like, the margins and all. And yes, right here I feel the Heidelberg cylinder letterpress printing, and it looks great, as well as that the artwork that is haunting, and also looks phenomenal from William Basso. Looks good. It is haunting, and some of these pictures, some folks talk about pictures giving spoilers, and I guess in some cases they may, but typically if you haven't read a book, you don't have the context to know what the pictures are really showing. But if you're worried about pictures and spoilers and stuff like that, then just cover your eyes, darling, because I want to show them. I want to show this artwork. It is fabulous, and it is full page, covers it all. It looks so good, and that's one of the cool things about the Suntup editions is the variety of artwork. There are publishers out there, great publishers who make great stuff, who will often use same artists over and over and over, use same types of choices when it comes to the way the art looks and styles and stuff like that. And with Suntup, it's practically a book-by-book decision. I don't know how the ins and outs and what have you is on the choices made, but the art is book by book. The artists are book by book, and the artists, while I'm sure Paul Suntup gives them some instruction on what he wants, the artists are left in many ways to come up with their own stuff. And what you have is a stunning variety of illustrated books in the Suntup Editions library. Their assortment of books. The artwork is just fabulous, and Hell House is so beautiful. I'm glad to have this one on the shelf. Like I said, I'd love to get at least a couple more from Richard Matheson. Besides the ones I've got, besides the one that I've got on order, I'd like to get a couple more titles for Richard Matheson, if the folks at Suntup are up to the task. And Hell House is in. It looks so good. It is so nice. I'm glad to have it on my shelf. With that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell. So thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And say la vie, baby.